I was kicking and screaming, but I caused my own pain. You cannot rush the seasons. They come and go with time. Do the work that makes sense for the season. You do not plant what grows in summer, in winter, or harvest the field crop for autumn, in spring. Prepare your resources, sharpen and ready your tools. It will soon be time to work, and you will know when it arrives. Now, I would say that I've been wrestling with myself, going back and forth for a little bit now. And a part of me wants to take action, wants to do something, wants to get going. Let's just get it started already, right? Let's have fun, right? Let's make something. But you can't rush the seasons. And just because you don't enjoy the season you're in, just because you don't like the cold of winter, doesn't mean it's going to go any faster. And not liking it, doesn't change what is. And I've been struggling with this because I really, I don't like it, right? I don't want to keep waiting, right? I'm ready now. I want to start now. I know I have all these plans laid out. I have all these things I want to do, right? I have my crops laid out for the field. I have it all mapped out. I'm going to plant this here. I'm going to plant this here. And we're going to try this out here. And, we're going to expand it out that way. Like, I've got all these plans for my garden. There's so many things I want to do. Figuratively speaking, right? Not literally in my garden, right? But it's not time to plant yet. There's still some snow on the ground. The ground is still frozen. Right? It's not ready to till. It's not ready to plant. But all I can think about is planting. That's all I want to be doing right now, right? But that's not the season that we're in. That's not the time yet, right? And I really am just struggling with this because it feels like the winter has been so long. And I'm tired of waiting. And a part of me feels like it should be over by now. But the seasons are not set, right? They shift, they change a little bit. So just because one year, winter ended on this day, doesn't mean it's going to end on that day the next year, right? And so a part of me is like, it should be time. I'm ready. Let's do it. And it's almost like Groundhog Day in more ways than one, right? I feel like I'm just living on repeat right now while I wait for things to start. Every day blends into the next. I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. But that doesn't mean that I'm actually not getting anywhere. Things are happening for sure. I'm growing. I'm changing. Just because winter is here doesn't mean trees aren't extending their roots out further and preparing for the growing season. And so I know on one level I am, extending my roots, and I'm preparing for, new growth. But it's not time for the new growth yet. And, I'm just, I'm trying to come to peace and, surrender to that. To come to terms with, I cannot force the time. Um, but it's tricky, you know, and just because I can accept that's true doesn't mean I have to like it. Doesn't mean I have to enjoy it, right? Because certainly there's things that I can focus my time on right now, right? As I said, sharpen your tools, prepare your resources. And I feel like I've been doing that. I feel like that part's already done. You know, and so I feel like I have just about everything I need to get going, to get started. And now I'm just stuck waiting. Waiting for the ground to thaw. Waiting for the days to lengthen. And I don't know, I guess I'm getting bored. Right? I guess I'm getting bored. And I'm not really getting bored, because there's so much stuff I can be doing. It's just a matter of what the problem is that I can't do it right now. And maybe I could find a way, but I don't think that I should. And that's my problem. I'm stuck in this state where, as I said, when it's time, you'll know. And I haven't felt that yet. But I've been waiting for it. I've been so eager for it to come about. And it's the anticipation is killing me. I'm like, I'm so ready. Let's do this. Because I really I do have so much energy. So much energy. And yet I feel so drained because I can't effectively use any of it. Right? I've held this passion, but I just can't get myself to allocate it to anything, you know, effectively right now. Because no one cares about what I care about. And I feel ridiculous. I feel crazy because a part of me is so confident in myself. And I feel like there's an 80% chance that I'm just an absolute moron. But I've come to the terms with, if I am an absolute moron, and, you know, it's just, you know, me being overconfident in myself, and I don't know anything, I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know what's going on, and, you know, I'm just, you know, being dumb, like, then so be it, is kind of where I am. But it's hard to explain that to most people. Because everyone else is still trying to live in this world. And this world is dead. Like, I feel, like, a part of me feels, like, crazy for saying that. But this world is dead. And it's about to be born anew. Everyone's dancing on the corpse. You know, they've been trying to resuscitate it for years now. It's dead. That's okay. But when it's reborn, things will change. And most people aren't ready for that change because they've only known life to be one way. And they're not ready for anything else. And I don't know what it's going to look like. But I don't think we can avoid it at this point. Nor maybe ever. I don't know. But I'm out here doing my best to keep going. Keep struggling through it. Keep living in this world as best I can. Pretend like things are fine. But if this is all there is to life, why am I even living? I don't know. It just seems so silly, right? If nothing happens soon, then I'll have to take some more drastic action, I guess, and just kind of do what I gotta do. But I don't think that that'll be necessary. I just don't know when. Oh, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something came to mind. Oh, I was watching this video. It's on the channel Eternalized, and it was on Rudolf Steiner, and I listened to that video today. I put it on my watch later playlist, and I got to it, and I just felt like I was getting called out so hard in that video, because it talks about how you have to surrender, right? And you have to be able to, still live in the normal world while, integrating this process, right? And I felt like I was getting pranked, because it just described me so well, and what my current issues are is basically self-imposed, because the main reason why I'm not exactly content with the state of things is because I've decided I'm not content with the state of things. And I don't know, maybe maybe that's how everyone else works, I don't know. But realistically, I could accept that this is how it is, and just keep going. But another part of me just really doesn't want to. I don't know. I've been getting mixed signals, because I also watched another video where it was talking about how if there's something telling you you should leave a certain circumstance or something, you should probably listen to it. And I'm like, well, that fits what I'm going through so well too, right? A part of me feels like I need to take a leap of faith, and the other part of me feels like I need to wait a little longer. And then the leap of faith won't be required. Whether that's because I get shoved off the edge, or that's because, the bridge gets lifted, I don't know, right? But we're waiting to see. I think a semi-sad thing about that is that I'm fine with either outcome. I've been standing on the edge so long, like I don't, I feel like this is what my life is. There's nothing to go back to. And I don't know. I feel like most people won't understand that sentiment, and it doesn't sound good. But I don't know. If I'm not free to create, if I'm not free to learn and to grow how I want to, then why am I alive? Right? If I have to live by someone else's rules, if I have to live the way that everyone tells me is the correct way, even when I don't like it, why would I do that? That's what slavery is, basically. Being forced into doing things you don't want to do, right? and there's quote unquote compensation, but I don't think it, you know, trivial things like material goods and quick vacations to help you, you know, deal with the fact that you're a prisoner, right? Getting a little day trip outside the prison just to remind you of what's out there, you know, what you could be doing, just to come back and be locked up again. Like, that's almost worse, right? It's like, this is what your life could be. Psych. Like, I don't want to live for 3 weeks of vacation every year. I don't want to live for some big fancy house or a nice car or whatever, right? Like, I don't care about any of that. I don't need any of that. I just want to be able to live. I just want to be able to learn. I just want to create. I don't know. I want to become something more than just a person. What else did I put down here? I think I'll just put this in here as well. Lessons learned in the garden. So this year I was growing, I was like my first year of truly planting out the garden and putting all this stuff in. There's multiple factors here. Multiple things I learned. Let me just add this one that I just thought about right now. Maybe I could have just spoken that one, but I wrote it down now as well. So, lessons learned in the garden. The crops are not as natural as they seem. They need care and structure to grow to their full potential, and not overextend themselves. So, what do I mean by that? So, a part of me had this conception in my mind that, like, these are plants. This is nature. You know, they know what to do. You know, they'll just grow if I let them. They'll grow and they'll do all right. This is not true. This is not true. And the reason why, I mean, there's multiple factors to this, but the reason why is because most crops nowadays are not natural. They've been bred to be focused towards maximum production, and they've also been bred to be catered to be, you know, babied, basically, right? And so these plants are not capable of just doing everything themselves. You have to provide structure for them to grow on, because otherwise they get top heavy, because their fruits are too large and they can basically snap their own branches or lean over. And I've got like pepper plants that are growing one pepper that is it can't hold up the pepper that it's growing. Like, it's so ridiculous, right? And so you really do have to provide that structure for them, because they have been bred to have that structure, right? They have been bred with the understanding that you're going to give it structure. So structure is not something, you know, it has anymore. And so things like my tomatoes, I put some stuff in there, but it kind of all collapsed in on itself because it overgrew everything, got too heavy with the fruits, and kind of started falling in, and the supports that I put weren't sturdy enough really to hold it up properly. I still got tons of tomatoes, but it could have been better. And so, you know, that's something that I learned, is that, you know, things really do need the structure. They really do need the care. They really do need the you to provide them with the proper nutrients and the proper watering and all these things. They can't just survive on their own. Because they're not really as natural as I was first thinking, which in retrospect was kind of dumb. But I don't know, that was the thought in my head. I was like, they're plants, they can figure it out. No. Things need their proper space to grow. So I got a little carried away. I was so excited to grow stuff. I grew too many things. And I feel like I may have gotten a little carried away. And it's now getting to a point where it's kind of hard to navigate my garden because things are overgrowing their current space that was allotted to them by a little bit too much. And so you want to make sure that things have the space they need to grow properly so that you're not choking out other stuff you plant, because otherwise that's just wasted effort. You planted something but it gets choked out by something else next to it, and so you know maybe there wasn't room to get both things, but you wasted the effort of planting both things to only get one, right? And then certain crops do best at certain times, and so this is something that's also pretty obvious. I mean, all of these are relatively obvious, but again, knowing it and, truly knowing it and understanding it are two different things. And so by experiencing this, by doing this firsthand, making the mistakes, I've learned, okay, this is stuff we need to account for in the future. Certain crops do best at certain times. So I planted spinach and broccoli in my garden, and they were looking pretty good, and then it got hot, and they just cooked. No good. They did not make it. And so I thought maybe I would at least get seeds from them, but I don't even think it just got toasted. Like, I don't even know exactly what happened, but it did not survive. Another thing that's also pretty obvious, but harvesting, preserving, seed collection, and saving and preserving and stuff for that, all of that takes time, all of that takes effort, and I don't really have a lot of it. I barely have time to manage my garden, let alone go out there and harvest everything and then prepare it all up. Like, I basically have negative free time right now, because I'm just so busy between work and other things that whenever I have free time, something else just pops up and they're like, hey, let's do this, and I'm at a point where I'm just gonna tell everybody no. Because I don't know, I'm just tired. But this is the one that I just added on here. Weeds are not your enemy, but they aren't always your friend. So, I don't think that you need to, you don't need to worry about spraying, weed, herbicides. I also I don't think I had too many issues with pests. So that was great as well. But, if you don't manage the weeds, they get out of control. And so you have to, there's a balance. You don't need to go crazy and destroy every weed you see, and you don't need to use sprays and stuff to prevent them from growing in the first place. But you can't just be like, my crops will be able to survive, because they'll just get choked out. They're not going to make it. Because again, it comes back to they're not as natural as you think. They're not as self-sufficient as you would hope. And so you really do need to care for them. And so, yeah. Those are some of my lessons learned. There's probably more lessons that I learned, but they're just not coming to me right now. I mean, some of it I had previously mentioned. One of them is that it comes back to, these plants do need you to manage them, because they'll start to put out flowers before they're even a foot tall. And it's like, you're gonna make a tomato that's this big, and you're not even that tall yet. What are you doing? And you can kind of take some of that back. You can take a lot of these lessons back into your own life, into your own self, and be like, okay, you know, how does this apply to me? And you know, you can kind of see it that way. You know, I can see right now I'm trying to flower and, you know, put out leaves, but you know, it's not time yet, right? And so if I do that, I'm just gonna end up freezing and withering away. But you know, sometimes YOLO, right? We'll see. We'll see if it has to be done, you know, because sometimes the weather changes and you need to adapt. So I'm waiting for it to warm up, but there's a potential that it never will warm up, right? And if that's the case, then we have to learn how to survive in the cold. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I'm hoping that that's not the case. But if that's what it comes to, then that's what it'll be. And if I don't survive, then I didn't have a long future. You know, if I survive in dormancy, am I really surviving at all? Right? So if I can never send out new shoots and grow anew and, you know, expand, then why am I even doing this in the first place, right? What's the point of being a tree if you're never capable of growing again? Because eventually, whatever I have stored up and whatever's helping me get through the winter, right, is going to get used up. I can't survive off of what I've, you know, got in reserve forever. So while I have plenty of reserves left, I might as well make the effort to try. And that's how I see it. Because if I wait until I'm just about out of reserves, there's no chance I'm going to make it. There's no chance. And so I'm giving it just a little bit more time. Just a little bit more. We'll see how long that lasts. Because, like I said, I'm getting bored. So, anyway. It's getting dark, so peace out. Oh, I forgot to mention this, but I created a Patreon. It's free. I want to use it because there's different mediums for like creation on there. Like I think I can write and do other things like that, post photos and things like that onto there, and I have ideas for what I want to do in the future. And I found a solution. Probably no one has or probably will watch my video about my t-shirts, but I came up with these t-shirt designs that I think it's cool, and I like to wear them. You've probably seen me wear them in some videos if you've watched any of my other videos. But I was talking about how I want a sustainable and reliable way to make shirts that last, right? And I've come up with the solution, and it's called bleaching, right? So all you need is like a design stencil basically, and then you have like a linen or cotton shirt, I think does best. And so you get like you can thrift used shirts that have a majority cotton or linen blend, right? And then you can, if they have a pigment on them already, then you can bleach them, and if they're like a dark color, then you can get like some kind of dye and dye them, like doing tie-dye, but not tie-dye. And so that's my plan for the future, is I'm going to make the designs so that somehow you can download it and then print that out, and then use that to create your stencils that you can then use to make infinite shirts. As many shirts as you want, you got them, right? And you can make the stencil different sizes, and then you can do different colors, and you can do all these things, and it's all gonna be ideally sustainable and cheap, ideally, right? And then I can get these designs out there for people to wear if they want to, and I don't feel like I'm creating waste. Right? We're reusing old stuff, in theory. It's not necessary. You don't have to do it like that, but I think that that's the best way to do it. Right? So if anyone else has notes on that, let me know. But I want to do that. That's a plans for the future, is to come up with these stencil designs. So I'm trying to keep the design simplistic so that you can properly stencil them onto shirts and make them your own. And then I'm also gonna just post my paintings, my drawings on there, and then when I write stuff, which I'm currently trying to write some more, I'm gonna post that on there. And if I do scientific and or rigorous mathematic kind of proofs or something like that, if I try, I do want to, that's a part of my agenda of things I want to pursue. I have the ambitious goal of making math easy. Making math less math. That is the general plan, is to make math less math. How? I'm not certain yet. We're working on that. But if I can do it, that would be pretty awesome, because math is just, it's too much. We gotta trim it down. So, anyway, so I'm making that Patreon. I'll put the Patreon name on this video, I guess, so you can go there. There's not much on it right now, but that's my plans for the future. So, yeah. Peace out.